Barcelona. Christian Horner joins us now. An eventful couple of weeks for you, Christian. How's the new boy settling in?
I think he's done remarkably well. I mean, his first flying lap in the car was very impressive, and he's settled in. But I think what it demonstrates is the simulators as well are so good these days. The guys turn up here pretty well prepared.
Has he been hard at that?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, both teams use the same simulation tools, and I think it's great that he's got off to obviously a flying start.
A good reminder we should ban simulators then, to me. But you must be pleased with your musical chairs then of your drivers, because it looks like it worked all four. I know you're really only responsible for two of them, but
it's still early days. But I'm certainly happy with the start that Max has made, and what's impressive about him is how for such a young guy, how cool and calm he is in the car, very clear. He reminds me a little bit of Sebastian Vettel, in his demeanour in the car. So only one session in, but he's made a very promising start so far.
Is that the crux of it here, Christian? That Red Bull and the whole young driver program, it's not about unearthing capability. It's about unearthing, if you like, the next Sebastian Vettel. And is that what is informing your decisions, or in particular this decision?
Well, Red Bull invests more than any other team in young talent. We nurture this young talent from an early stage, just out of karting, and we're in a unique position, in a luxury position in many respects, where we've got 4 competitive seats in Formula One, and so our outlook is perhaps slightly different to other teams, where we have the ability to be putting our best foot forward, and that's what we've done by reshuffling the drivers as we have here for Barcelona.
How do you read Daniel Ricciardo's take or mood on it all? Obviously you've dropped Verstappen in alongside him. How's he handled that?
I'm not sure he's noticed, to be honest. I mean, he's so laid back, but he's focused on his own role and position and getting on with his own job, and I don't think it will make any difference to his approach. The smile's still there. He's just approaching the weekend in exactly the same way as usual.
Can you give us any hints on contract for Max here? I mean, how close in particular were the other two big teams in the paddock right now, Mercedes and Ferrari? Were they in advanced discussions with him? You're saying it locked him down, it secured his future. What does that mean for you? How far down the line is that?
Well, obviously he's he's a very impressive talent, and he's probably the hottest young property in Formula One at the moment. So inevitably, the big teams come looking, and that includes both our main competitors. So so obviously we've used this opportunity as well to extend our relationship with him. That it certainly takes care of the next few years.
Where does this leave Carlos Sainz? Because from what I've seen on track and in commentary, he's done every bit as good a job as Max. Surely he's in big demand as well, is he not?
He's doing a great job. I mean, it's a luxury problem we've got to have for very talented drivers in our stable. So Carlos, I think you can see he's driving extremely well as well, and that keeps the pressure on all of the drivers.
We know that Dr. Marco informed Danny Kvyat when he was lying on his sofa watching Game of Thrones. Have you had to call upon your management experience? I mean, what have you said to this guy, all the training that you guys do? How do you keep his spirits buoyed, or is that not your problem now? Do you just say, Franz, you need to pick this guy up?
Well, no, because he's still very much part of the Red Bull group, and I spoke to him just after I think Helmut had interrupted his television program, so I probably finished it off for him, but we just spoke about the scenario, and that whilst disappointing, it's not the end of the world for him. He's in a competitive seat, and he should see that as confidence that Red Bull has in him. Otherwise, we've seen with other drivers, they've ended their relationship at that point in time. Red Bull spends tens of millions of pounds across the two teams, and for Daniel to be in that Toro Rosso demonstrates the value that the group still hold him in.
Okay, so sorry, Martin, but if let's say we're looking ahead to 2017 right now, yeah. I mean, you're not talking about an immediate way back in, is it? It's not the end of the line for him. We're not saying that at the end of 2016 the next one's in off the shelf, whoever that may be, a Gasly or whoever the next young driver.
Not at all, because they're both young guys. Both Carlos and Daniel, and there's nobody really knocking on the door, putting those seats under pressure from below. So we've got a group of drivers, in two reasonably competitive cars at the moment.
Still getting lots of fans on Twitter saying, what did Sebastian Vettel say to Christian Horner on the pit wall in Sochi? I know it's been covered to an extent, but what exactly did he say to you?
He said, I think you should put Verstappen in the car for the next race.
Are you sure? Did he want Kvyat out of the car?
No, of course he didn't. Look, you know, Sebastian, we've known for a long time. He came over, just asked, what on earth happened, and of course he's frustrated having got out of a car. He's just crashed out of the race, and China. I didn't see anything wrong with what Danny did. Obviously, in Russia, I think it was a different scenario. Sebastian just vented it, his feelings, but it had no influence at all in any of the decision making.
When he was I asked him about it yesterday in his press conference, and he just said, have a word, Christian. So you've clearly had a word, but that word extended to...
Yeah, probably didn't expect it to be such a big word.
Strong word.
The decision wasn't made on the first 200 metres of the race in Russia. We have an awful lot of information, a lot of data, from how these guys are developing, how they're performing. And it was based on that.
Was it predetermined, though? I mean, can you honestly stand here and say that there wasn't, you weren't looking for an excuse? Was this something that you talked about at the start of the season, and was Danny kept informed? Was he kept in the loop, saying, look, you are under pressure, this could be your last race? Was that one of the things? Did he, in the back of his mind, think, God, this could be my last chance, I better charge?
Well, the drivers all know they're under pressure. That's the nature of the business, and certainly the nature of, the Red Bull with the junior program. And I think that there was a pattern that had been there from the first test that we're working very hard with Danny on, and the problem he also had is that Daniel Ricciardo, make no mistake about it, is, for me, I think he's probably driving as well, if not the best in Formula One at the moment. So the benchmark that they're up against is incredibly high.
Is Verstappen a Senna, a Schumacher, a Vettel, and Alonso?
I don't know, is the honest answer, but I think the ingredients that are there, you can see are pretty special. He came into Formula One last year, was a sensational first year for him. He's carried that momentum into this year. And everything that we've seen behind the scenes as well, his approach, the capacity, a spare capacity that he has within the car, looks hugely impressive. How that will develop, only time will tell.
Christian, you must be excited. I mean, I don't know about you, but we were just talking about this, weren't we, during that practice session there. It feels for the first time in a couple of years, you said it was going to be a transitional year, that this whole place is reinvigorated. You've got the drivers that you want in the car, you've potentially got an engine upgrade that's going to come and bring you even closer to the front two. What's achievable now with what you've got in place? Do you think it's wins? Is it podiums?
Well, things are definitely on the up. I think the car's performed very well so far this year. That's continuing to develop, move forward. We've got upgrades coming in the powertrain, hopefully in the next couple of races. And I think once they're introduced, then hopefully we can start to get onto the back of the Ferraris. And driver-wise, I think we've got one of the, if not the most exciting and strongest driver pairing in Formula One at the moment.
Well, looking good for 2017, eh? Should you get
so
those?
So far, so good.
All right, okay. Great stuff. Thanks.
Thank you.
Best of luck for the weekend.